Well, hi everyone, my name is Tadeo. Today I'm going to be talking about a bit how lending infrastructure is becoming more collaborative and, let's say, less competitive. Now we'll get this on. I can actually tell you my true intentions. There you go. Thank you. We can also call this talk a very non-exhaustive and highly opinionated view of money markets. I have my own worldview. I'm going to try to convince you of it. I'm going to admit anything that really doesn't fit that model. Hopefully you agree with me. So DeFi infrastructure or money Legos are being broken down into smaller and smaller pieces. And through this process, we're seeing an emergence of specific actors or market participants that are becoming more and more relevant as Lego builders or operators. So today's presentation is going to be coming in threes, or for the most part. I'm going to be talking about three trends, three participants, and then, because I don't really have that many opinions, it's just going to be the one opinion about all of this. So let's start with the trends. The first one is lending platforms as base layers. We've seen it with Morpho Blue, now with the future release of Euler V2. We're seeing that lending platforms are becoming more open, unopinionated, and what I like to call agnostic layers, essentially allowing operators to offer the bare minimum of what we consider to be a lending platform. This can also be described for Aave V4, although you can argue it's less open, it's more for their own markets. But essentially, they're all creating this unified liquidity layer by which they can build on top specific features to offer to different users. And quite importantly here, and back to the first two examples, is that operators can actually not just choose the parameterization of the lending market, but actually choose what features they want to offer. And quite importantly here is not just what features you do offer, but also what features you don't. This is to say, you're going to be able to now, when you see new interesting features coming to the market, you no longer have to fork your competitor. You can actually use the same base layer technology that they're using. And this will also not only allow you to offer customized experiences to users, but also be able to, a little less painfully, swap new features in and out. For example, if you consider Curve's new CRV USD's soft liquidation feature, you can actually use them, implement it in a much less painful manner, simply use DeFi Saver. Now, second point, or second trend, is the emergence of sophisticated user parameterization, or simply allowing or empowering users to, on their own side, define what parameters they much prefer to operate with in their own positions. Here we have a few examples. We have Credit Guild, that if you have enough governance tokens, actually as a user, you can propose your own lending terms. And other users in the same markets can not only deploy capital in those pools, but actually deploy capital to be its own first loss capital or junior capital. We then have Ashna, that is operating in a manner more like an aerospace engineer, which I'm still not fully capable of operating. Lastly, you have Liquidity V2, also coming out very soon, where they will allow users to define their own interest rate that they like to pay. On the positive side, this is enabling the crowdsourcing of market-driven interest rates without necessitating governance to react in a constantly moving market with user preferences changing. On the downside, if you set yourself an interest rate that is too low, you'll end up being the first one to be redeemed when the system needs to rebalance itself. All this allows users to have a more customized experience and actually decide for themselves. But at the same time, it opens up quite a steep learning curve that whether users are taking advantage of it, actually learning of it, or actually taking advantage of. Third and last trend is the idea that stablecoin issuers are foregoing their own proprietary credit facilities and actually open themselves up to external venues. So we have, for example, Angle with the introduction of USDA, where they forgo their own CDP system and instead using our AMO and what they call the transmuter in order to swap the collateral out that is supporting the stablecoin. Aves GHO has the term facilitator, that in the near future means that not only will you be minting GHO directly from the Aave markets, but actually from other external markets. And I think a more known example is Maker. The Maker CDPs or Maker Vaults are still available in the market, but they're being overshadowed by external facilities. You have Spark, Morpho, and quite famously Treasury bills now representing the most amount of backing for the stablecoin itself. And this is, to my point here, is that stablecoin issuers are narrowing down the focus area and their domain expertise and looking at the demand side and the price stability mechanisms for those stablecoins, while letting the supply side, which has been the main focus of all these players, to external agents. So with those three trends, I want to talk about three participants that I think are emerging as key players in this market. One is aggregators, then we have risk managers, and finally we have governance or meta-governance participants. So first one, aggregators. They're becoming very sophisticated and opinionated. I think here some people have already been using Yearn for quite a while with the strategy, so essentially buckling up quite a few transactions into one, because previously, in order to actually get yield from the market, you would actually do quite complex interactions. Now, this is no longer the case. You have a very simple, or let's say, very direct source of yield. So Yearn, for example, now offers a UX aggregation layer for Ashna. You're able to, through their Juice Vaults product, essentially operate Ashna with a few simple clicks, which is much more simpler, and I gotta say, a much more colorful experience. Also here in the room, I'm guessing there's more than one person has had their position saved from liquidation by DeFi Saver. DeFi Saver's automations are becoming more sophisticated and actually much more needed. We essentially have a much more growing size of base layer protocols that are able to tap in for very different features, but at the same time, you're more and more requiring this automation across protocols, not actually having to deal with liquidity issues on one position against the next. And then last but not least, a new entrant in the market is Contango. Contango is offering perpetual futures built on top of money markets. With this, I think the one thing I want to point out with them is that the UX aggregation layer does away with all the terms that we as users of money markets, legacy money or lending platforms have been accustomed to, and instead focuses on the experience of a trader at a centralized exchange for perpetual futures. You no longer see terms of stability fees and interest rates, and actually see funding rates. All of this allows you to take advantage as a user from the multiple protocols coming underneath and actually having your specific needs met either from the UX, but actually more importantly, the automation of it. Second one is risk managers. I think we should think about risk managers as fund managers from now on. They're no longer in the backseat just ensuring that the protocol doesn't explode, but actually are the competitive edge of these protocols. Good risk parameterization and risk management gives you competitive edge and actually makes your product better product in this realm of risk assessments. Another big thing is these companies, particularly Block Analytica, they being operating in a DAO context where they would propose risk parameter changes, and then they would be voted on continuously by governance. It came to the point where we actually just rubber stamping their proposal because the systems are quite complex. The need for expert opinions is quite high, so it's very difficult to ask for individual voters to actually have a counter opinion or a better form opinion than these experts. So what I hope that we keep seeing is this movement from rather than governance via rubber stamping, we get to see governance by deferred responsibility, actually formalizing the importance of these teams and giving them full autonomy and independence when it comes to risk management. And finally, but not least, to this point, these teams are not only looking at setting the parameter for next week's vaults, they're also looking at liquidity risk and more looking at traditional finance products coming into the market, and they're therefore necessitating the knowledge of TradFi risk management. And the last market participants are delegates. We've had the emergence of professional delegation teams that were really asked to just do voter aggregation in a form of allowing for mitigation of voter apathy. We've asked these people to be voting continuously on. I think we need to ask more from them, and we've seen specific teams in the market actually come in and provide this added value outside of just simply voting. You have, for example, Carpet Key, also Stable Labs and Seed Latam that are providing more value just than simply voting and communicating their voting situation, their voting opinions. And again, it's also following this movement from governing by consensus, meaning we want everyone to vote as much as possible, to government by consent. We vote on expert teams to fulfill daily tasks, and then governance still requires these teams to be more transparent and open than traditional companies would do in order to have this overview and possible veto power if they misalign with the ethos of the community. And through doing this, we've seen, particularly, for example, with Carpet Key, where they're looking at growing the ecosystem for Gnosis and doing business development in a form that hasn't been seen until now. I'd like to say that the best type of business development is not actually BD itself. It's ingrained in the culture of the entire organization, and these teams are actually providing this added value to those communities. And don't get me wrong, there are still delegate teams that are very valuable as their own just for one single protocol. But the fact that you have these teams across multiple protocols, and not just on the DeFi side, but across layer 2s, actually gives you the competitive edge to actually take advantage of this new realm of collaboration. So, my one opinion is that collaboration is key and is ingrained in the midst of this new wave of innovation. Teams actually embrace this and look for ways to actually be more collaborative with others in the space will actually outbid those who do not. In economics, we have this term perfect competition. Basically, a perfect competitive market is one that no single player can actually dictate the terms or bully others into the market. It's all smaller firms or entities that are operating the same level. Therefore, deciding what money Legos and what money Legos builders you choose ends up becoming the competitive advantage in the market. Great, that was it for me. Thank you very much. I won't be taking questions, but I'd love to talk to you outside. If you disagree with me and want to exchange hands, I'll be happy to as well. And I thank you very much.